I'm here with Matt Rawls, the Vice President of Business Development for EMEA for Specific Energy. Matt, when I look at what the impact and what you're doing with what Specific Energy is doing, I'm very excited to be able to spend this time with you.
Likewise, Frank. Yeah, it's great to have the opportunity to talk.
Good. So why don't you give us a little background on yourself and water and the work that you're doing at Specific Energy?
Sure. Okay. So I would probably be what you class as a water industry veteran now. I've been in the business since 1994. I fell into it by accident. I took a summer job at an engineering company. It just so happened that they were a water engineering company in the UK, and I started off as a photocopy boy in the office. And I always had a kind of interest in the kind of design and technical drawing aspect of my schoolwork, and being in the drawing office just as they were migrating from drawing boards to CAD really piqued my interest. So I ended up staying on there and taking a kind of quasi apprenticeship in the drawing office, and I worked my way through into mechanical engineering and project management, and ultimately into the front end of the business, into business development and sales. So yeah, I've been in the business for a long time. Wow. I mean, typically I've historically been more involved in sort of the treatment technologies, the EPC project delivery, and supplying sort of the process and treatment technologies into plants and facilities. But I joined Specific Energy around, well, it was the start of last year. So I've been doing this around 14-15 months. And obviously we're much more in the digital space, so still in the water industry, but it's really refreshing to be doing something a little bit different. So our focus is primarily on using data and analytics through digitization to enable utilities to make real-time decisions based on real-time information, and using that to kind of optimize and sort of increase the resilience of their pumping systems and operations.
Very important, certainly with our water situation today, is digitization and analysis.
Yeah.
So with that, on your website, you say that you are the standard for pump station control analytics. Talk about that and why that's important.
Okay. I mean, well, I think that the easy question first as to why it's important. I mean, pump systems are typically part of the most critical asset in a water utilities in terms of ensuring resilience of supplies to their customers, which is the consumers and the end users. And the pump systems really are the heartbeat of that. So ensuring the resilience of those systems is very, very important. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to provide a platform that gives utilities the information that they need to make the right decisions to ensure that their pump systems operate 100% of the time. The kind of cherry on top of that is the fact that we're able to provide all of these additional layers of analytics and information to them, so that they can optimize for energy consumption, so that they can detect anomalies in the system and react to them in real time. And we do that by using a combination of edge computing and a digital twin. So our kind of physical hardware, our device sits adjacent to the PLC, and we take that physical plant data and on the edge, so as close to the originating source of the data as possible, we're using our algorithm to solve all these millions of simultaneous nonlinear equations to ensure that those pump systems are operating at the best possible point of operation, and that's the point of minimum specific energy consumption, whilst keeping the pumps within their preferred operating range. So that ensures the resilience of the system plus operating at optimum performance. So we think we've got the best system on the market because we couple that with using that data to the furthest extent possible. So not only are we giving the utilities the information they need to be able to keep that system operating at peak performance, but then we also put the asset management function onto the back end of that. So we're able to quantify for that utility exactly how much the condition of their pumps is costing them in terms of wasted energy, when those break-even points would be as to when it's going to cost them more in wasted energy than it would do to undertake a repair or replacement decision. So it really enables them to talk to their operators and engineers on the same levels. They can talk to their finance directors and CFOs to make all of these decisions that are related to keeping that pump system A, operational, and B, operational at its peak performance.
So could you, with that, it's fascinating. So with that, could you give us a couple of real live examples of the impact that this has had?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think looking in terms of impact, I mean, one of the things that we're, as I mentioned earlier, is probably one of the key elements for us in terms of the payback for utilities. What justifies this for utilities is energy consumption, because we're able to operate at the point of minimum specific energy consumption for the system. And when I mean that is, I don't mean that we're just focused on trying to keep the pump as close to its best efficiency point as possible, because that's only a part of what makes up the energy consumption of an entire system. So we build this digital twin. So that digital twin enables us to have virtually an infinite amount of virtual sensors throughout the system, so that we can then use that data to make real-time optimization decisions. So we're able to save utilities anywhere from sort of, I mean, our average energy saving across our install base to date is around 13.5%. But we've got certain utilities and certain applications where we're saving sort of 30 to 40%, but because they're on particularly sort of high energy or high energy usage applications. So that saving alone provides the payback for the system and provides the utility with additional capital to make further investment decisions across their asset base. So that's the kind of key impact that we've seen. But I think sort of intrinsic to the system in the way that we ensure that the pump systems operate is to ensure that resilience of supply and that longevity of supply. So as critical as saving energy is, saving energy is only important if you're keeping that system operating 100% of the time. And again, by combining that digital twin element with the real-time data analytics, we've been able to identify for utilities subtle changes in the physical characteristics of that system, which would indicate that there's potential plug-in on the suction side of the pump, or changes in the characteristics on the discharge line, whether that's air entrainment, whether that's sedimentation buildup, but anything really where actual data is different to the model data, we can then analyze that and advise them that there's a potential issue coming up before it becomes a, at worst, a non-revenue water situation, or at worst, a supply interruption or sort of damage or failure event to an asset. So, it's given them that overall picture, both in terms of being able to save operational cash, but also sort of plan their maintenance and asset management a lot more strategically.
So you've been in and around water for a little while. So with that, what motivates, and what you're doing with specific energy, what motivates you every day?
I think what motivates me every day, I mean, certainly with specific energy, it's the ability that we've got now to address challenges almost in real time, or certainly very, very quickly. I think historically, looking back on my time in water, people in the water industry, us guys that have been doing this day in, day out, we kind of know the importance of what we do in terms of the value of service that we provide to customers. But historically, we've always been hidden. We've always been the guys behind the scenes. People outside of the water sector don't really appreciate what goes into ensuring, safe supply of water and safe disposal of wastewater. It's just kind of taken for granted that it's there, and they don't know who does it or how they do it. But I think now, given that you're looking at things like ESG, corporate sustainability goals, the drive to net zero carbon, all of these things, people are now realizing that water touches all of them, and not only touches them, it plays a real key part in every aspect, whether it's industry, whether it's municipal utilities, whether it's commercial applications. Water is intrinsic to all of that. So I think at Specific Energy, what we're able to do, as I've mentioned earlier, to really touch upon most of those critical components, that resilience of supply, that delivering value for customers, that drive to net zero carbon by reducing power consumption. We can do that, and we can do that very quickly. This is not what you typically see in the treatment space, where it's projects on a 2 to 3 or even 5-year cycle. People need this now. Customers' expectations and behaviors are changing, and we're able to provide utilities with the tools that they can act and adapt to that very, very quickly. So it's really exciting for me to come into this space and be able to see those kind of short-term support and challenges that we're able to address very, very quickly and very, very efficiently.
So with your responsibility in business development, let me ask you, how do you see utilities and in their desire to embrace technology today?
So that's a very good question. It's tough to kind of broadly address it, because each of the, there's a lot of forward thinking utilities and a lot of utilities that like to kind of sit back and wait till the last minute to make these changes. But I think what digitization is doing, it's been able to provide a much more de-risked approach to innovation adoption and using innovation to tackle challenges. Digitization typically can be non-intrusive, and it can be trialed and sort of implemented very, very quickly. So I think utilities, they're still catching up. There's a lot that are still kind of sort of waiting, which can be frustrating. But I think generally, I've certainly seen that there's much more of an appetite now, much more of an understanding. And again, I think it's driven by need. Their customers are demanding that they do more, whether it's for sustainability, whether it's for carbon reduction or greenhouse gas reduction. That hasn't been the driver before. Their driver has really been that they need to meet legislative limits, and that's typically on the treatment side. But those drivers now are coming from various factors. So there is an uptake to it. I mean, we'd all love it to be quicker, but it's coming. And we feel that we're right placed and right sized with the right platform to really support that.
So in your role, would you say that a fairly good portion of your role is educating the utilities on the value, not only of specific energy, but of technology?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, it's a lot more prevalent now. Most people within a utility, whether that's at board level or engineers and operational level, they understand why they need to do these things. It's not just an order that's come down from on high. They understand why they need to do it. Okay. Our job as the kind of supply chain is to support them with that by providing them with the technology and B, the kind of commercial structure that enables that to happen. So again, you're moving away from this historical echo chamber where everybody would talk about we need to do stuff, and that was going on. I felt up until 3 or 4 years ago, I'd been going to the same conferences with the same people for a decade and hearing them saying, well, we're going to have to do something about this, and it never changed. And I used to have to bite my tongue and sit on my hands to avoid screaming. But now I think that attitude's changing. People are seeing that we really need to do this, and there's quick and easy wins and good fit digital technologies that enable that. So part of our job, you're absolutely right, is educating them in what's available and how it can be done, and then supporting them with that kind of implementation and configuration and getting them off the ground.
So you've done some work with Global Waterworks. What do you see as the value of Global Waterworks overall to the water industry?
I mean, from what I've seen today, the one thing that stands out for me, head and shoulders above everything else, is collaboration. The work that we've done with Global Waterworks has been fantastic in terms of the people that you've been able to put us in touch with, and the people that you work with that need something like what we have. That kind of real rapid fire collaboration it's what I love about Global Waterworks is it's purely focused, or it certainly seems from us as a partner that you just want to provide solutions and partners to people with specific challenges, and you guys are great at kind of connecting those dots. For us, it's brilliant because it takes a lot of the legwork out of having to try and find where those challenges are and where we can dig in, and that can be quite sort of laborsome when we're trying to do that blind. So having a partner like Global Waterworks who's kind of focused on connecting the dots between the challenges and the solutions, and finding utilities with specific needs and technologies that can address them. It's been fantastic. I mean, we've really enjoyed working with you and the team so far, and we're looking forward to continuing that for a long time to come.
Great. I think what you identified there is really the power of Global Waterworks in connecting. So with that, let's turn back to specific energy. As you look at the future here, and certainly you've got a great history yourself, as you look at the future of specific energy, where do you see it going from a standpoint of impact and its certainly its presence, let's say, in the water industry? Where do you see that over the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I mean, over the next 12 to 18 months, we're focused on growth, and more growth. And we're essentially now a global company. We've got a team that's based in the US, but with the beauty of a digital platform and a cloud-based solution is we can address challenges anywhere. And also, obviously, with myself outside the US now, I focus on the sort of European, Middle East, and Asian market. So we're able to support customers and get in front of a lot more customers. So the growth potential for us is significant. And I think our model is evolving as well. You know, we're going to not move away from, but we're going to supplement our sort of historical direct customer model, you know, working directly with utilities. That's something we're going to continue to do because we love it. And, you know, there's a lot of value in that. And we've got a lot of customers that we want to continue working with. And there's a lot of customers that we want to get to work with. But we also want to partner with other technology platforms. We're aware that one of the drawbacks or perceived drawbacks with digital and cloud-based technologies at the moment is a lot of that data is siloed, and utilities don't necessarily want one particular platform that's focused on pumps, one that's on networks, one that's on their treatment plants, and then having to look at those all individually. So we're looking to work with other digital platforms as well and kind of supplement what they're doing with our capabilities and vice versa. So we're looking to kind of break down some of those silos and kind of increase collaborations across the digital supply chain to better serve customers. So we think by sort of focusing on those two areas in particular, then our scope for growth and achieving our goals is huge.
Well, Matt, we at Global Waterworks, Mary and I both look forward to working with you and Specific Energy, certainly to support you and help you and to achieve all of your goals. Matt, thank you so much for spending this time with me today, and look forward to working with you in the future.
It's been my pleasure, Frank. Thank you very much. And yeah, I echo what I said earlier. We're really excited about the potential of working with Global Waterworks, and we love working with yourself and Mary and the team. And we're looking forward to further collaboration in the future. So thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.